Combat replay for January 5th, 1942, now underway. Getting some resistance at Timor, 40mm anti-aircraft fire directed at the ships. Not that it's going to save them. Alright, so this is a concern. An S-boat with working torpedoes hanging out by Brunei. That's going to create a response from me. Plus he's in shallow water. I mean, if I get a chance to get after these subs in shallow water, I take it. There we go. Alright, we've torpedoed a cargo ship northeast of Hawaii. And it sinks. Yeah, I can skip this. These depth charges aren't getting deep enough. So this is the RO class boat I sent into Pago Pago to try to torpedo the task force there, and we ended up getting away with one. It's us in shallow water this time. We were spotted before we spotted the enemy ships, because this is an ASW attack. So that was basically 4 torpedoes fired as a snapshot with low percentage of hitting, and these RO class boats don't carry very many torpedoes to begin with. And then we were prosecuted by the crane, so we got away with one there. That could have gone very badly. I just got a message that 7 Nels were unable to locate their target due to range or weather. That is not a good sign. Hopefully the weather's okay for Singapore, since this is actually a fairly decent strike that's flying in. 30 Zeros as escorts, that's plenty. 37 bombers. It's not bad at all. Yeah, hopefully we're going to get some hits on those ships that we've been asking for. And at the end there, it said that the planes got through to the bombers, which is just frustrating. And here's some more frustration. So I think we lost 3 bombers to flak there. So that's not good. But they were only carrying 250-pound bombs, or 250-kilogram bombs. We need the 800s. So we got these non-penetrating hits on Prince of Wales, and it's just like, so what? That did nothing. Once again, they're right after the bombers, ignoring our fighters. Oh, now we're getting 60-kilogram bombs hitting targets. Ooh. Yeah, so like 4 hits on Prince of Wales and it did nothing. This is the strike we divided up between the port and the airfield. Okay, how are we not tearing these guys to shreds right now? We outnumber them 3-1. And we just took the first loss. And they got to our Bettys. That's ridiculous. Between outnumbering them and just having the much better aircraft, we should have wiped the floor with those planes. And then we basically hit nothing in the port. Heavy rain. Yeah, weather's not our friend today. Yeah, we finally shot someone down. And they're to the bombers again. Now, fortunately, they didn't actually get any shots in on anyone. We lost another one to flak. Yeah, we got a whirlaway on the ground. Great. There's another chance. And it said they basically completely ignored the fighters and went right after the bombers. Basically no damage. I should confirm that the weather's bad. Next time okay, thunderstorms and hex. So that has a lot to do with why our bomber accuracy isn't that great. I don't know if it has anything to do with our fighters being so ineffective. Yeah, straight to the bombers again. No hits. Well, we've got a hit reported on the enemy sub that's hanging out on the Malayan coast. Another message, 7 Nels couldn't find their target. Forgot to turn this airstrike off. It's a complete waste. Can let malaria finish off those troops. Uh-oh. So we just lost a submarine near Singapore. Can we make up for it and maybe get one of the enemies? Scoring hits on this guy. Finally, great. Solid connection with the depth charge pattern in shallow water. Got a whole bunch of damage and near misses. And a second hit. Alright, that's good. Yeah, I think 2 solid hits is about all an S-boat can handle. I'd want 3 if it was some of the bigger, longer range subs. Good chance this one sinks afterwards. We're not hearing sinking sounds. But he's going to be damaged badly enough to have to go back to port, and pretty much all the ports in the area either are currently or soon will be in range for my bombers. So, pretty good chance we've either killed that sub or set him up to die very soon. Alright, road to Cyan. We look a little under strength here. 1-to-1 odds. The enemy got the worst of it, that's not bad. Another one where we're a little under strength for what we're trying to accomplish. East of Canton. Still manage 1-to-1 odds. Casualties favoring us, but not by much. This is just a probing attack. We're really just trying to see how much AV the enemy has here. It's 475. So we have one more division arriving. I think when that other division arrives, we'll have enough more AV than them that a direct attack will look attractive. Also bombarding here. So kind of same story. Since they've got 800, I want to get up around 1600 before I attack. So I could probably pull another division from Sinyang. So an actual tactical victory here. Can we get this guy to surrender? Yes. Okay, so that's the last enemy holdout north of Mersing, north of Malacca. Let's look for ships. CL Perth scuttled. But that's it. So they had 2 destroyers there that were, at least were reported by recon, that may have gotten away. Unfortunately, we didn't get any airstrikes there at Cabantuan, so that created an opportunity for the enemy to recover from their damage and make another push. We better get our airstrikes tomorrow. Alright, reviewing the turn, kind of a slow one. We're showing a moderate point gain, although as we get a little deeper into the post-turn analysis, you'll see that this is potentially misleading, that we might actually have lost points for the turn. So, in the air, not really a horrible day for us. We've got a lot of operational losses this turn, and a lot of it's like float planes and recon. It's really more indicative of us flying a lot of sorties than anything else. And flak losses like this don't necessarily concern me, because it means I'm doing a lot of offense. Usually, if you're getting bombers over the target, you're doing damage. Today, the weather didn't cooperate, so we didn't get that. That's just sort of how things go. I'm not too worried about it. And then, in terms of air-to-air losses, 3 planes is basically nothing. So not too worried about that. And then the enemy like really kind of got a day off. They didn't get many aircraft up to defend Singapore, and for whatever reason, the bombers were walking right around my fighters and going straight to the bombers, so there wasn't that much danger to the enemy fighters to begin with. Yeah, and they had minimal losses other than air-to-air. In ships sunk, we're credited with sinking the Repulse again. We didn't hit the Repulse this turn, so that means if this is true, it succumbed to its prior injuries. I just don't have any reason to really believe that that's the case. Like, it was clearly in port. We cited it at least as recently as 2 turns ago. So there's just no reason for it to be getting worse instead of better. We've bounced a few bombs off of its armor. There's a possibility it could be on fire, and similar to our battleships that were getting beat up by Dauntlesses off Rabaul. Non-penetrating armor hits non-armor penetrating hits can still cause fires, and the fires can still be lethal to the ship. I just don't think we've been hitting the repulse enough to cause fires like that. We lost the I-123 off Singapore. This was hit by 2 bombers flying on ASW patrols. Unfortunately, usually the way this works is you get hit by one, you take some damage, and then you get out of there before you get the second hit. This one took 2 hits in a day, so I didn't really have a chance to save him. We sank the Perth by taking over Loughton at Timor. So this was a ship that was critically damaged by our carrier-based aircraft. It was basically trying to shelter there. It was there with the Lexington and Enterprise for a while. The fact that the Perth stayed there, but the Lexington and Enterprise disappeared, again, it seems to confirm that Lex and Enterprise sank. I really would like more definite confirmation, but as our recon aircraft continue to saturate that area and they don't see it, and it's not like they could make very good speed. They made an impressive amount of distance away from the battlefield the first day, but the fires were only getting worse at that point, and then we hit them both again, including getting a secondary explosion on Lexington. They can't move very fast. And then we torpedoed a cargo ship off Pearl Harbor, and the fanning's kind of interesting. If this is a real report, I'm a little skeptical, but this is one of those 2 destroyers that was out of fuel that was making its way away from the Marshalls very slowly. So, checking over the map real quick, we still have 6 enemy submarines off Tokyo. I'm up to, what's that, 6, 7, 8 ships, and hopefully this one will be my 9th. So it's not like we're not taking those guys seriously, we're just not getting any hits. Wenshaw, we're going to wait another day before doing anything. Seeing some movement, so it looks like they are trying to concentrate in Wuchang. We've got the reinforcements we need to hold out, I'm not too concerned about that. Here, the numbers weren't great, but they weren't horrible either. Could probably do fine with an airstrike. These guys can wait. And then we had the one successful battle up here in the north. So basically pretty quiet in China. We're mostly just waiting for reinforcements. In Malaya, we eliminated this pocket of enemy troops. That's some good news. Had a series of disappointing strikes on Singapore. We had 2 messages during the day that Nels attempted airstrikes but failed to find their targets, and we're seeing that the number of ships in port went from being in the 30s on previous turns to 24 now. So those events may be related. If so, that is disappointing. I do not like that there may be enemy ships escaping. I wish they were on the map. If they came up through the Strait of Malacca, we've got pretty good recon. Of course, storms could mess with that. If they can mess with the strikes, they can mess with the recon too. Looking like some more valuable ships are parking in Palembang. I guess I could consider it a secondary target, although at this point I'm really more concerned with Singapore. We don't see any movement leaving Timor. So if those destroyers did vacate, they made it pretty far, probably. Unless they're hiding in a rain squall. So the ships we tried to bomb at Koh Ping look like they probably weren't all that valuable anyways. Just an AKL and one other ship. And not a whole lot of aircraft. here of any value. We have an amphibious task force unloading at Ambon, and that's the 21st Air Division, so we should have torpedoes ready to go next turn. Carrier Division 2 did not get very far, probably because of the amount of ops points it spent at Babel. Still got 3 submarines outside Babel Doab, 1 submarine outside Katabo, and 1 badly damaged submarine off Brunei. I intend to prosecute all of these. So Carrier Division 1 is withdrawing, Carrier Division 3 is arriving and can now take over, covering the Amphibious Task Force at Port Moresby, which really should be moving already. I don't know why they're still there. We've got our anti-aircraft and aviation support landing at Rabaul. We have a task force ready to take this construction unit and naval guard fragment somewhere more useful. And we have another amphibious task force passing by. It's delivering construction engineers and additional anti-aircraft guns to Rabaul. Still no contact on those pair of destroyers, although one has apparently sank. And no contacts at Hawaii. Apparently we sank the only one we saw. ASW craft on the west coast, and that's it. So yeah, overall, pretty quiet turn. We need to do better in Singapore. Oh! Probably the most important thing this turn. Lots of enemy units here in Cabanatuan. They've moved from Clark, and we didn't get an airstrike on them, so this is a potential danger for these guys, although, to be honest, the mission of these 2 land units of ours at this point is basically bait, to try to get the enemy to do exactly this. So we're going to be bombing these guys, and possibly doing more. More on that on the setup. So I'm going to close it out there. We'll see you for the setup next turn. Thanks for watching.